Welcome to The Life of Hair. My name's James Atkinson. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. Now, this week's episode's a bit like last week's episode, where we're going to look into something quite specific that I listened to on my favourite podcast, How to Cut It. So thank you for Dom Lehane for letting me use his clip here. Now, this is Rob Eaton talking about how he coaches and guides his team to run their columns and manage the expectations of clients today. So we're going to have a quick listen and then we'll come back at the end. I'll give you a few of my thoughts. But like last week, I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. So give me your opinions straight after the video so that people can come back and enjoy this time and time again and gain inspiration, not just from my opinion, but from yours too. Let's have a little listen.
How do you manage a column in your salon and the services that are available?
Yeah, do you know what? It's really interesting, this, actually, because it's something we've chatted about for quite some time now, how the traditional hairdressing column has changed probably over the last few years, from being your normal 45-minute appointment for most services to perhaps actually allowing a lot more time now for different things and charging maybe more for time as opposed to just a service price, and looking at how we carry out consultations and how we deliver that across to the end consumer afterwards. So it's very much about chatting to people first, finding out what they want, almost giving them a hair colour plan and a hair colour journey as well. And then we really find this important because it actually gives clients a vision of what we can offer them throughout the year. And because salon visits generally, we've found a down now, so it's not the average 6 weeks appointments or even 8 weeks. It's sometimes a lot longer than that now before people come back in to see us. It's so important that you give clients that that journey of what you can offer them throughout the year, which may only be 3 or 4 appointments now as opposed to the every 6 week appointment that we used to do. And it's so important to give them that in advance in a consultation, or to keep reminding them what they can have in salons when they come to visit each time. And obviously that encourages them hopefully to come back and see us more. But I think the very nature of the way colour techniques have developed over the last few years with the sort of balayage and ombre freehand kind of techniques, it just means that the longevity of colour that people have now and the kind of results that they have and that they're wanting means that we don't probably see them as much as we used to do. So I think for us it's very much about delivering this kind of plan and this journey of what they can experience in our salon, but making sure that they know about what they can have in between, if it's a toner or something that's going to give them gloss and shine, we offer that as well.
Does this start from the reception?
It's every point of the client journey. So it could sometimes be what research they do into the salon online. So looking at our website, social media. It's very much about the receptionist and whoever's at the front of house speaking to these clients when they speak to us. I mean, what we find out with our front of house team, actually, it's not just the traditional phone call anymore. It's via email. It might be a Facebook message. It might be an Instagram message. There's so many different avenues that people look at when they want to contact the salon to either get advice about the hair colour or change of haircut or whatever they want to know about, and often that is obviously inviting them into the salon so you can have a consultation, have a good chat about what we can offer, and obviously the skin test element of it is something we always need to see people before they're booking anyway. So it is very much about forward planning anyway now. So, and I think actually this whole process has given the hairdressing industry and clients' perception of the hairdressing industry a much more professional element, really. So people really know that they've got to have all those different things done. They've got to have a skin test prior to visiting the salon, and it helps us to kind of eliminate any problems that you might experience on a day if you've not done those things. So we've all had those situations where you perhaps you've got a client booked in for some highlights, but they want something a lot bigger than that, and it's a totally different job that you don't perhaps expect or think about.
Well, this is what I'm thinking as you're telling me. I know, again, just as a hairdresser, that it's just that different service. It's just such a different time level of booking, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's where consultation is so important, really. And making sure that we've got consistency with how you're delivering the consultations in salon, or whether it's online as well, whether it's chatting about things first as well. I mean, we've got to become a lot more open about what's involved in certain techniques and the kind of the work that goes behind a lot of the colours that you see online now as well, particularly the sort of rise of Instagram hair colours, I call it, which kind of gives clients this expectation of being able to change things and have a filter over their hair for real life, as opposed to it just being something they've seen on a picture. And I think it's something that all hairdressers can relate to as well. But I do think definitely now what we've certainly been doing as a brand is making sure we identify what people want to get from their hair, give them this plan and this journey, making sure actually that they feel that they're getting that time spent with them in each appointment. They obviously need to know about all the products that we use and the work and the detail that goes into all of that as well as having an amazing experience as well. So it's definitely, I think, a challenging but amazing time for hairdressers at the moment.
Would we have done this 5 years ago?
I think we probably were starting it 5 years ago, but not in the same way as it is now. I think clients' expectations now and our own expectations of what we want to deliver are bigger than ever before now, and I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the industry, and it'll mean that we drive things forward, and it just becomes stronger and stronger really with the level of professionalism that we offer.
I always try and get my head around this bit. When we say about the consultations, or we get as much information with their online booking, whatever, but it may be so much more of a technical service that you've got to provide that client than they actually believe. And that's the thing, isn't it? If you come into your salon, and I'm just picturing this from a small salon perspective, but you come into your hairdresser, you sit down, and you're greeted by your amazing stylist, technician who's going to work on your hair, and you say, look, what we going to do for you today? Well, I'd like to go from, I'd like to be grey off the top of my head, and they're sat there with black hair. Can you do that on the day? Because knowing that time that it's going to take to work that for that stylist, that's where it gets really tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I would give to any technician or hairdresser or hairstylist listening to this is, it's being honest about what you think is achievable, and don't overpromise as well. And this is very much about giving this kind of hair plan to people. People expect that you can go from
Brilliant.
one.
I like that hair plan, Rob.
Yeah, well, it's just for me a simple way of sort of thinking about it, and also clients relate to it as well. And I think if you're honest to a client, say, look, that this isn't achievable, but we can do this, and this might move you towards what your end result maybe wants to be. But it's going to take you, 6 months to do it, or you perhaps book in for 2 days where a technician can work on your hair constantly until you get that end result that you want it to be. And obviously, the example that you gave there is probably one that a lot of people can relate to, because I'm sure most technicians have heard that before, where somebody wants to go from very darkest brown or black to sort of platinum.
We all can relate to that.
Yeah, and and I think there's very, very it's very rare that's possible in some cases.
And there we heard from the fantastic Rob Eaton about how he deals with his column in his salon today. Now, some of the things he said there, I reflect his sentiment exactly. It's something that I really sung home to how I feel about my column as a hairdresser today. And some of the things that he said there, I do, and I wanted to explain to you my version. So here it is. The big change for me is the consultation. I only ever colour someone's hair having had a prior consultation. That takes away a lot of the problems that we experience today. People's expectation of going from black to platinum is then quashed, and we can give them that journey that he spoke about. And that is something that I totally agree with. Giving them that journey, that place to take their hair over the coming weeks, months, years, really makes you valuable to them. And they get excited about what the possibilities are should they come back to you and have another colour service. So I highly recommend that you get on board with having these consultations prior to people's arrival. Now, I know that some people have said to me in the past, James, they're so costly to keep having all these consultations. Not everybody comes back in for the service. And I totally agree with you. That is one of the problems with doing loads of consultations. One of the ways around that is to charge for the consultations. Make it applicable when they return to have their appointment, that you can remove that deposit that they paid effectively for the consultation onto the appointment. That also gets around people not turning up for long colour services, which is a great way of bringing people back into your salon and making sure that they have got some money up front for their appointment. So that is one way round, one problem that you can face in a salon when people have booked in for big colour services. But really, for me, it's striking home that journey where you can take them. And also, a really good tip that someone gave me once these days is try and split the cut and colour appointments into separate occasions. This brings them back into the salon more regularly and gives you opportunity to retail products to them, and also gives you that chance to do toners and other things whilst they're having their hair cut. And I thought that was a great piece of advice on the side. So look, that's what I think. It's really important to do those consultations prior to people arriving to the salon. It's really important that you give them that perspective of a great colour journey that they can go on. But I want to know what you guys do. How do you guys combat the changes that have happened in the salon over the last 5 years in terms of people's expectations of what's achievable because of social media? How is it you are managing this? Down in those comments, really looking forward to hearing from you. Some of the comments from last week were wonderful, so thank you to everybody who got involved, and I'm looking forward to seeing more this week. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you again really soon for another episode of The Life of Hair.